Okay, first things first. Props to the National Football League for getting a collective bargaining agreement done. In these tough economic times, that sends the right message to the fans, regardless of what the changes are. I think this is what sports leagues need to do. They need to figure out some way to get collective bargaining agreements done during these tough economic times, because the last thing you want to send to the fans is the message that you're going to complain about money when everybody's hurting. So props to the National Football League. It's great that we're not going to have labor issues. We shouldn't have labor issues throughout the next 10 years. So props to you guys. All right. So let's preview the Seattle Seahawks. You can sum everything up pretty much in two sentences. We were 7-9, and we were able to win a division title. That's sentence number one. Number two, we defeated the New Orleans Saints in the playoffs. In my opinion, I know we can discuss this later, but in my opinion, that was the biggest upset, the greatest upset in NFL playoff history. We can debate that some other time, but that's just my personal opinion. As we look toward this year, the expectations for the Seattle Seahawks are a little higher than they were last year. Since we won the division last year, it is expected that the Seahawks win the division again. So you got that hovering around the franchise. As we look at the NFL draft, they didn't go with the best players available, which I'm okay with, because they went with needs. We needed to improve the offensive line, so we went out and got James Carpenter, and unfortunately I forgot his first name, but we got Moffitt from Wisconsin. Unfortunately I forgot his first name. So those are definitely going to be two key additions to the offensive line. During the quick and brief NFL offseason, we lost Olindo Mari, our kicker, to the Carolina Panthers. That's unfortunate. I had him on my fantasy team last year, and he actually racked me up a ton of points. But so that's unfortunate. However, Seattle has a tendency to get no-name kickers, and then they end up having career years here, and then they end up leaving for a big contract. That's fine with me, and the reason why is because ultimately they're doing what they need to do and helping the Seahawks win. As long as they don't do what Josh Brown did and go into a division rival with the St. Louis Rams, I'm okay with Olindo Mari leaving. So there's that. Another guy we lost was Lofa Tatupu. I'm more disappointed in the situation that came up out of that. Long story short, the Seahawks asked Tatupu to take a pay cut, and he said no, and so the Seahawks cut him. So I don't blame either side. If I'm the Seahawks, I'm trying to address other needs with Tatupu's money. But if I'm Tatupu, if you were an NFL player, and the lockout just happened with the new rules, and you signed a contract before the NFL lockout, there's probably no way you're going to see that type of money ever again. So as much as that much money is ridiculously high in terms of how much he's getting paid and that type of deal, I'm okay with him saying no. Because I probably would have done the same thing. Because there's probably no chance that guy is going to see that much money ever again, regardless of how well or how poorly he plays. Then the big thing, we did not re-sign Matt Hasselbeck. As I said before, I was okay with him staying on the team, and I'm okay with him leaving the team. If we stayed with the team, I would have said, okay, we're going to the playoffs. Hopefully Matt can stay healthy. That's been the story the last couple of seasons. It's been quite annoying, actually. But since he's off the team, the Seahawks finally did what they needed to do at the quarterback position, and that was get a lot younger. We're still looking for the quarterback of the future, but we had to do it because how many times have we experienced Matt going down, regardless if it's his fault running a running route, trying to fight his way into the end zone, or because of the offensive line not blocking him? Good luck to him in Tennessee. I will be rooting for the Titans this year because I want him to go to the playoffs, and I really wish him the best, and I thank him for what he did for Seattle because he was the best quarterback ever to wear a Seahawks uniform, in my opinion. So more on the quarterback position in just a second. We improved our defense by we didn't really improve, but we re-signed Brandon Meebane. He's been coming into his own, so that's pretty good. We also got Robert Gallery from Oakland, and we also got tight end Zach Miller. And I think that signing actually is pretty good because it gives us some flexibility with the tight end position, and it could decide what we want to do with John Carlson, whether we want to trade him, or whether we want him to learn from Zach Miller or to switch off. I think that's a great move. We also did get Sidney Rice, which I actually was kind of surprised at because I thought we had a really, and I still do, I thought we had a good young core of receivers, but and I was kind of surprised we went and got a top wide receiver. But I'm not going to complain because it's Sidney Rice. So if Sidney Rice wants to join the party, go ahead. The only signing that I'm really ticked off at is the re-signing of Kelly Jennings, the cornerback. I mentioned Marcus Trufant and Kelly Jennings in my last video after the Seahawks lost to the Bears last year, and I was saying how hard it was for me to back up Marcus Trufant. Kelly Jennings makes Marcus Trufant look like a Pro Bowler. I mean, that's how poor he is of a player. And the first preseason game this year at the against the San Diego Chargers, who was the first person that got beat in the first big throw from Phillip Rivers to Vincent Jackson? Kelly Jennings. So yeah, that one I'm not too happy about. Now, on to the quarterback position. Right now, Tavares Jackson is today, August 23rd. This video is being filmed on August 23rd, 2011. As of right now, Tavares Jackson is the starting quarterback. I have a sneaking suspicion that we are going to see two quarterbacks throughout the season, maybe three, between Whitehurst and Tavares Jackson. Now, this is going to be this is going to challenge Seahawks fans' fan patience. I went to the Minnesota Vikings game, the preseason game, and Tavares did not look good. I know it's just a preseason game, but Tavares literally was like kind of pushing and just couldn't get the offense, just couldn't move the team. He just couldn't move the team downfield on a consistent basis. I know Whitehurst is having a heck of a preseason, and I know that I've come on here and I've questioned that trade. I still question that trade, but it's preseason, guys. I mean, he's probably doing that against second stringers, and that could say something. So the quarterback position is going to be really iffy throughout the entire year and could make or break the Seattle Seahawks going into the next year. But other than that, I do like the moves. It's like we got better at everything, at the majority of stuff, with the exception of losing a kicker and losing our franchise quarterback, Matt Hasselbeck. As we look at the division, once again, let's play our craps. Roll the dice and see what happens type of deal. There are reasons for every single team in the NFC West to win the division, and there are reasons for every single team in the NFC West to lose the division. Seahawks, for example, they have addressed the offensive line, they have addressed the defense, they have addressed the wide receivers, they are hoping the running game is going to be there, but then you got the quarterback situation. So that takes them down. You look at the San Francisco 49ers. They improved in defense, they improved in wide receiver with Braylon Edwards, but they're still going with Alex Smith. And so that brings them down. You look at the Arizona Cardinals. Yes, they finally got Kevin Cobb, and they also signed Larry Fitzgerald to a ridiculous contract. However, what about the Arizona defense? And what about the running game? What about losing some offensive linemen? That brings them down. The St. Louis Rams, we all know about Sam Bradford and the offensive line. In my opinion, no one's really talking about the St. Louis Rams offensive line because, in my opinion, it was the best offensive line in the division last year. But their defense is not very good. So we don't know who's going to win this division this year. I'm not going to come on and I'm not going to make any predictions this year on who I think is going to win. But I will say this. NFC West teams have their work cut out for them this year because NFC West teams have to play teams from the AFC North and the NFC East. It's going to be a rough year for this division. I know I've come on here several times and said people need to stop harping on it because we win big games. That could stop this year. And you thought 7-9 was bad. As much as I hate to say this, I would not be surprised if the division winner is 6-10 because we have to play the AFC North. Who plays in the AFC North? Two teams, them being Pittsburgh and Baltimore, who pride themselves on how they set up their teams, particularly their defense. Then you look at the Seahawks situation, not so much the rest of the teams, but the Seahawks, obviously, they're going to go to Cleveland this year. And, yeah, Cleveland's a young team, they're a scrappy team right now, but guess who's the GM? Mike Holmgren. You think Mike Holmgren knows the Seahawks system after coaching it for, 10 years, something like that? Yeah, I think that will be a problem. Then you look at the NFC East. The Seahawks have to go to New Jersey to play the New York Giants and go to Dallas. We haven't beaten Dallas since we beat them in the playoffs during the Tony Romo botch snap game. We also haven't played well in the Meadowlands for a very long time. So we got that. We also are playing Thursday Night Football as of right now against the Eagles. The Eagles right now are primed to be a quote-unquote dream team. And the only team, in my opinion, I think we stand a chance in that division is the Washington Redskins, who are going to come to Seattle. And even though they won the last time they came to Seattle, they still don't play very well when they travel to now CenturyLink Field. So the Seahawks and NFC West teams have their work cut out for them. Unlike last year, the schedule going into the season does not favor anybody in the NFC West. That being said, here are my expectations for the team. I want to continue to see progression. In 2004, we were competitive. 2008, we were competitive, and we only won 4 games after having an injury-riddled season. Next year, even though we were blown out in half their games and we took a huge step backwards, we won 5 games. Last year, we won 7. So I want this team to win 8-8, and that might be a tall order with the way our schedule is and with the way our team is set up with the quarterback situation. That is what I want. I would like an 8-8 team because I want to keep seeing this uphill climb. That being said, if the Seahawks end up, in the hunt for a division title and they're hypothetically speaking, 6-9 like they were last year. I'll address it when it happens. It would be great to win another division title, but I gotta focus. Like last year, I said I wanted to focus. Last year, I said I wanted to focus on 6 wins before I focused on the division title. I will not be able to look at the division title until we win 8 games, or unless it's a situation like last year where we're 6-9 going into the last game and we still have a chance to go to the playoffs. So that's my expectation for this team. Thanks very much for watching the first installment of Football Week here on my blog. We'll preview the next 2 teams coming up. So thanks very much for watching, and go Seahawks.